There is a moment in the episode New York when Lestat de Liancourt stands outside a diner in a black hoodie and sunglasses, watches a woman inside who looks exactly like his dead daughter go about her work. Louis asked him to verify whether it was really her, so he walks in to find out. And watching grief and calculation move simultaneously across Sam Reed's face, the swallowing of his own tears, the decision to protect Louis from something that is hurting him, even if it is clearly, acutely hurting Lestat himself, is the finest piece of acting this season has produced. He tells Louis that this waitress is nothing like their daughter. He tells him not to see this person again. He is lying, at least partially, and the lie is an act of love. New York is the episode where the pain that birthed this entire franchise finally takes center stage. Anne Rice wrote Interview with the Vampire 50 years ago in the aftermath of losing her daughter Michelle. The grief of a parent for a lost child has always been the emotional bedrock underneath this vampiric mythology, the thing that gives all the grandeur and darkness its human weight. The Vampire Lestat has been circling this material all season, and in New York, it finally arrives. Louis' storyline has been the season's most uncomfortable and its most honest, simultaneously. He paid Regina, the waitress, to wear a dress, do a Louisiana accent, and pretend to be Claudia. He even folded a fake Madeline into the arrangement as well, constructing a domestic scene as though grief could be managed through staging. Jacob Anderson plays the desperation of all of this, with a restraint that makes every moment more painful. This is a man who knows exactly what he's doing and can't stop doing it, because the alternative is sitting alone with the truth that Claudia is dead, and he failed to protect her. When the fantasy cracks, when any stray detail lets too much real pain in, you see the seams of it, and the seams are the whole point. Grief that cannot be faced directly doesn't go away, it just finds stranger and stranger containers. The season's flashback sequences reach their most fully realized expression in this episode with the introduction of Akasha, played by Sheila Atim in a debut that managed to be simultaneously awe-inspiring and genuinely terrifying. The sequence of Lestat's time as Keeper, isolated with the ancient progenitor of all vampires, tasked with bringing her presence from the human world, playing music for a being who went 23 years without speaking to his predecessor, is the most gothic material this show has produced all season. The scene where the previous Keeper Marius casually announces he's leaving, and then Akasha immediately speaks to correct the record about how long she didn't speak to him, is the episode's most perfectly characteristic piece of tonal alchemy. And then, one night, Lestat puts a small smear of his blood on her lips, and she wakes up. The revelation that follows is the episode's most significant mythology delivery. Akasha drinks from Lestat, and in doing so, puts her madness into his veins. The wickedness that Lestat has in his worst moments, visited on those closest to him across centuries, has been in part the madness of Akasha's blood, running hot through him beyond his control. The show is too honest to use this as simple exculpation. It does not erase what Lestat has done, but it does deepen him. And it deepens our understanding of why a being who so obviously loves the world has spent an eternity leaving wreckage behind him. When Lestat tells the band, "This is the metal sun inside my veins, this is the hell I unleash on all those near me," and we see a highlight reel of his worst moments, including dropping Louis from the sky, it lands with a weight it could not have carried before this episode. 50 years ago, Anne Rice sat down with her grief and wrote something true. She wrote about a vampire who loved his child and lost her, and could not stop grieving her across centuries. And in New York, that grief finally finds its fullest musical expression. Stained Glass Eyes. The song Lestat writes after being forced to confront his grief over the loss of Claudia. Where the album's other tracks have been mostly anthems and provocations, this one is simply a wound laid open. A man confessing 2 centuries too late that he failed his child, that he loves her still, and that the grief has nowhere to go. Sam Reed's performance recording this song, a man singing to his daughter who cannot hear him, is the finest moment the show has given him in this entire series. Because it is the moment where the mythology, and the music, and the love, and the loss, and the specific anguish of a parent losing their child that originally built this franchise converge into something genuinely, undeniably moving. Stained Glass Eyes is what Interview with the Vampire has always been. A parent singing to a child that they could not save. And in New York, the show finally, fully remembers that. The Vampire Lestat continues on AMC and AMC Plus, so let me know in the comments. Did New York hit you as hard as it hit me? And what did you make of Sheila Atim's debut as Akasha, the Queen of the Damned? And of course, don't forget to subscribe to Fandom Frontline for more reviews as the season unfolds.